If this message has found you, maybe it's not a coincidence, because there is an invisible force moving right now. And if you keep watching, you'll understand why March 3rd, 2025 is much more than just a simple date. Have you ever heard of spiritual portals? Not the ones from movies with lights coming out of the ground or UFOs in the sky. Forget that. I'm talking about something real, something that can change your life or leave you behind. It all depends on one thing, whether you are ready or not. Spiritual portals are cracks in the very fabric of reality. They open when time and the universe's consciousness align perfectly. And when that happens, everything you believe to be real starts to crumble. And what exists on the other side of this portal? The truth. Not the comfortable truth they told you. I'm talking about the raw truth, the one your soul feels but your mind avoids. And on March 3rd, this veil between worlds will be torn. Matter slows down, frequency shifts, and those with inner eyes to see will see. Those who don't will just pass by. And before you think this is superstition, let me remind you of something. Pythagoras knew this. Hermes Trismegistus knew this. The Kabbalists have always known. The universe itself is living mathematics. Numbers are the codes of creation. And certain combinations, like March 3rd, are literally keys to crossing between worlds. But there's one detail. This portal is not for those who are still asleep. It only reveals itself to those who feel the call before even knowing its name. If you've been having strange dreams, seeing repeated numbers everywhere, feeling a restlessness that won't go away, it's because the portal is already calling you. And if you've made it this far, don't ignore it, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what's behind this portal and how it can change absolutely everything in your life. Three. It's not just any date. This is one of those rare moments when time itself seems to breathe differently. The universe's vibration shifts, and if you pay attention, you can feel it. We're talking about a window that only opens once a year. And when it does, reality leaks signs that only those who have begun to awaken can perceive. We're talking about March 3rd. But this isn't just a spot on the calendar. This is a vibrational marker, a symbolic key carved into the fabric of time. Since ancient times, the number 3 has carried sacred weight. That's why it appears in almost every spiritual and esoteric tradition. 3 is creation. 3 is manifestation. 3 is the number that connects worlds and turns ideas into matter. The ancient alchemists knew this. In Hermeticism, 3 is the very signature of creation. On one side, the masculine force, active, which emanates and sends out the creative spark. On the other, the feminine force, receptive, which receives and nurtures that spark. When these two powers meet, the third force arises, the living creation, what was once invisible and suddenly becomes real. This is the true secret of the Hermetic Trinity. Now imagine what happens when this same number, charged with this creative meaning, echoes twice on the same day. March 3rd is a vibrational mirror, a reflection within a reflection. It's creation looking at its own face, doubling its power, like a wave of creative energy multiplying itself. This repetition isn't a random detail, it's a code, an activation, and this is where the true power of this window comes in. What it does isn't just open possibilities, as some say. That's too shallow. What this date does is align mind, soul, and matter. Who you are here, who you are inside, and what you're ready to bring into the physical world, all of it meets at this exact point. It's a moment of fine-tuning, where your true purpose is laid bare before you, not as a distant idea, but as something pulsing inside your chest. But this comes at a price. Creating something new requires the courage to destroy the old. This March window isn't just about visualizing the future you want. It forces you to face what must die for that future to exist. It's not comfortable, but it's real. And that's why this date is a portal. Not because it brings luck, not because it's good for making wishes, but because it acts as a test. It places you before a vibrational mirror and asks, are you ready to stop carrying the weight of what no longer serves you? Or will you keep holding on to your old versions and letting the futures slip through your fingers? Now that you understand what this March 3rd window means, I need to show you what really happens inside you when this portal opens, because this isn't just about energy in the air or feeling something different. This is about the hidden structure of your own existence being activated. The ancient alchemists already knew this, and what I'm about to tell you is so powerful that it was hidden, distorted, and reserved for only those who were truly ready for centuries. I'm talking about the Alchemical Triad. Inside you, there are 3 forces. They've always been there, and everything you create, your life, your choices, your relationships, your money, your health, everything is born from how these 3 forces interact. And here's the secret. Because on March 3rd, this triad is revealed. If these 3 forces are in harmony, your life moves forward. If they're at war, you get stuck. Simple as that. The first force is sulfur, the fire of the soul. It's that wild drive that moves you, the desire to be, to create, to leave your mark on the world. It's the divine spark you've carried from other existences and even buried under trauma, doubts, and fears. It has never stopped burning. Sulfur is your essence screaming, "I came here for this." The second force is Mercury, the bridge. It's the mind that translates that desire from your soul into ideas, words, and intentions. Without Mercury, you feel your soul's calling, but you don't understand what it's trying to say. It's that feeling of, I know I want something more out of life, but I don't know what it is. Mercury is the translator between heaven and earth, between the invisible and the visible. It's the language of creation. The third force is salt, the body, the matter, the ground where everything happens. Salt is what turns intention into action. It's your ability to bring the dream into the real world, to get your hands dirty and shape what your soul imagined. Without salt, your ideas stay on paper. Your spirituality turns into just a pretty theory that never touches real life. Now, pay attention. Every true creation needs these 3 forces dancing together. If one of them fails, everything fails. If the soul wants but the mind doubts, creation collapses. If the mind dreams but the body doesn't act, nothing is born. If the body acts but without direction from the soul, you build an empty life. That's what March 3rd reveals. It shines light on this sacred triangle inside you. And when this portal opens, there's no more running away. The creation your soul came here to manifest is right there, in your face. But along with it, the blocks show up too. The contradictions. All the times you wanted something but didn't believe in it. The times you believed but didn't have the courage to act. The times you acted, but without soul. Just out of obligation. And that's why this portal isn't for people looking for comfort. It's for those who are ready to look in the mirror and see where their own creation got stuck. Because only when you see this disconnection can you start to fix it, to adjust, to align. And the alchemists called this alignment the great work, not because it's easy or fast, but because this is exactly what turns an ordinary human into a conscious creator. Aligning these 3 forces inside you is literally turning into spiritual gold. It's leaving victim mode and stepping into creator mode. The triple manifestation in the tree of life. You know what's the craziest part of all this? This same secret about the 3 creative forces doesn't just exist in alchemy. It's also hidden inside the Kabbalah. Because despite what a lot of people think, alchemy and Kabbalah aren't separate paths. They're like mirrors of each other. Kabbalah is the spiritual anatomy of creation, explained through symbols and letters. Alchemy is that same anatomy applied inside the human being and nature itself. What changes is the language, but the essence is the same. Kabbalah is an ancient tradition that explains how divine light turns into matter, how the invisible condenses until it becomes the physical world. This journey happens through the tree of life, a sacred map that reveals how the Creator's consciousness breaks apart and descends into the material plane. And you know how many spheres exist on this tree? 10. But these 10 only exist because at the very beginning, 3 forces created everything. The same 3 forces alchemy talks about. At the top of the tree of life, there's Kether, pure divine emanation. But this light can't manifest directly in the physical world. If it came down without any filter, the whole universe would be destroyed because matter can't handle that much power. That's where Chokma comes in, the first masculine force. He's the one who receives this pure light and starts to direct it like the initial spark of creation. But a spark alone creates nothing. It needs a womb, a spiritual uterus, capable of holding that force without letting it scatter. That's where Bina comes in, the great cosmic mother. Bina is the same feminine principle alchemy calls the receptive matrix. She holds Chokma's light, gives it shape, gives it boundaries, turns that chaotic explosion into something that can be nurtured. Without Bina, creation would just be a loose idea floating in the void. She's the one who gives the dream its form, and it's from the creative tension between these two poles, Chokma and Bina, masculine and feminine, force and receptivity, that Dath is born, the hidden portal of the tree of life. Dath is both an abyss and a gateway. It's the point where creation steps out of the invisible and starts becoming reality. Dath isn't a visible sphere, it's a vibrational doorway, a space that only opens when the two creative forces are in perfect balance, and that's exactly what happens inside the March 3rd portal. That date activates this hidden flow of the tree of life inside you. It's like the Dath portal opens up for a few hours, bringing to the surface everything your soul wants to manifest, but got stuck behind the scenes of your mind. It's the moment when ideas you didn't even know you had start to take shape. It's that kind of day where you just feel something is about to happen, even if you can't explain what. In practice, March 3rd amplifies the conversation between Chokma and Bina inside you. Your creative side and your receptive side sync up, and Dath lights up. That's why this date is so powerful for rituals of conscious creation, but not for shallow stuff like material possessions or random desires. We're talking about true creation, the kind that comes from the soul, not the ego's wants. This portal only exists because 3 different layers cross at the same time, like invisible gears locking into place at just the right moment. The first layer is the cosmic one. Every time a portal opens, there's a vibrational alignment happening in the background. In the case of March 3rd, that alignment involves the pulse of time itself. It's the 3rd day of the 3rd month, fully immersed in the frequency of the double 3. That already messes with Earth's vibrational field and your own internal geometry, because your energy body also responds to these frequencies. The second layer is the symbolic one. Numbers aren't just measurements, they're living archetypes. And 3 carries the code of creation since ancient times. It's the number of the divine triad, the number of manifestation. It's the force that pulls the invisible out of the divine mind and gives it shape in the physical world. And when that 3 repeats and mirrors itself inside the calendar, it creates a symbolic echo. That echo ripples through the collective consciousness, even if most people don't consciously understand what's happening. It's that feeling that something important is in the air, even without a logical explanation. The 3rd layer is the inner calling. Portals aren't just about external energy hitting the earth. They're also about who's ready to cross through, and this readiness has nothing to do with religion, theoretical knowledge, or following rules. It's all about frequency. The ones who've already gone through internal dissolutions, who've already died to their old versions, who've already broken down the beliefs that trapped their soul and started making space for the new. Those people feel this portal vibrating inside them. It's like something in their chest starts pulsing in sync with the universe. It's a silent calling only the soul can recognize. And when these 3 layers click into place, the portal forms. It's not a physical portal with some light beaming from the sky. It's a vibrational portal, visible only to those who've already sharpened their inner vision. The ones still asleep, stuck in autopilot, won't even notice. They'll walk right past it. But the ones who've tuned their perception feel it. The air shifts. Time flows differently. Small signs start to pop up. Dreams with strange symbols, random meetings that feel anything but random déjà vu moments that keep repeating. All of this is the portal echoing through reality. And that's exactly why March 3rd is so much more than just a symbolic date. It works like a spiritual mirror, a mirror that doesn't show your face but your vibration. And when you look into this mirror, it's not just about seeing who you are today. It's about seeing who you've always been and who you came here to become. The first three speaks to your essence, that part of you that existed before your name, your job, your life story. It's the divine spark that was already there long before this incarnation began. This is your spiritual core, your deepest truth. The second three speaks to your manifestation, what you're creating every day with your words, your choices, your thoughts, and your actions. This is the shape you're giving your life right now, whether you're aware of it or not. And when these two numbers meet in the vibrational mirror of March 3rd, a kind of cosmic alignment happens. If your essence and your creation are in sync, you feel an insane level of clarity. It's like the puzzle pieces finally snap into place. You know who you are, and you know why you're here. Your life flows because your inner energy and your external expression are speaking the same language. This is alchemical coherence. But if there's a disconnect, the portal exposes it. You look around and don't recognize what you see. Your life doesn't seem to match who you are inside. It feels like you're living through an old version of yourself, one that should have already died. That discomfort is the portal itself pressing against your chest, forcing you to decide. Either you step through and align who you are with what you create, or you stay stuck in this distorted version of your own story. And this crossing isn't some esoteric fantasy, it's visceral. It messes with your body, your dreams, your deepest memories. Anyone who truly steps through this portal doesn't come out the other side the same. Some part of you has to die so that something new can be born. And when you accept this symbolic death and cross over consciously, your life truly changes. Because March 3rd isn't just a day for reflection, it's an accelerator. It shifts your energy field and activates memories that have been asleep. You might start having different dreams with symbols that speak directly to your soul. You might wake up in the middle of the night with a clarity that has no logical explanation. You might feel past life memories rising like waves, bringing answers to questions you didn't even know you had asked. More than that, the patterns that used to hold you back start dissolving. Not because some external magic happened, but because you stopped holding on to those chains from within. You clearly see how certain pains, beliefs, and stories were just recycled versions of your own fear of creating something new. Your intuition sharpens. You say something without thinking and realize it was exactly what someone needed to hear. You hear your own voice as if it were the voice of your inner master, because that's what happens when you step through this portal consciously. The separation between your human self and your higher consciousness starts to disappear. How to prepare for the portal. And if you made it this far, you already know the March 3rd portal is no joke. It's a direct call for those who are ready to stop being prisoners of their own past and finally take ownership of their own lives. But crossing this kind of portal isn't just about thinking positive or making wishes to the universe. It's an internal ritual, a contract between you and your own soul. And there are specific spiritual practices that can help you tune into this crossing. Not the obvious stuff you see everywhere. I'm talking about living, symbolic, deep practices that speak directly to your unconscious and shift the root of your energy. The first one is the inner triad ritual, because if the portal activates the creation triad, you need to show this portal that you're aware of who you are in that process. Grab 3 pieces of paper. On the first one, write down who you've been until now, the beliefs, fears, traumas, and outdated versions of yourself that no longer serve you. On the second one, write who you are today, what you've learned, what you've already transformed, and who you recognize yourself to be right now. And on the third, write who you choose to become, the version of you that honors your soul and brings your real purpose to life. Burn the first paper, letting the fire consume everything that no longer serves you. Take the second and offer it to water, dissolving the now so it can flow freely instead of holding you back. And bury the third one, asking the earth to nurture that seed and help you bring it to life in the physical world. That's applied alchemy because you're working with the elements and giving your unconscious a clear message that you're ready to cross. The second practice is the Bina meditation. If Bina is the cosmic womb that receives light and gives it form, then this is the womb where your new self starts to be born. Close your eyes and picture a massive cosmic uterus, an endless dark matrix. It's the space where everything is possible, but nothing exists yet. In the center of this space, a light starts to pulse. That light is you being reborn. It's the new you that the portal is calling to life. Sit with that image, breathe into it, let that light grow until it fills your entire body. The third practice is an ancient divination technique adapted for this portal called triple geomancy. On March 3rd itself, at 3 different times of the day, cast small stones, seeds, or crystals onto a surface and observe the shape they form. It could be in the morning, afternoon, and evening, whatever feels right. The key is to sense how the portal itself responds to each throw. Repeating patterns, geometric shapes, or symbols that show up aren't random. They're direct messages from your vibrational field answering the portal's call. And to really understand why this is so powerful, you need to remember the language the portal speaks. Because all of this is about numbers, and numbers are living vibrations. 3 is creation. It's the birth of form, the moment something leaves the invisible and shows up in the world. When the 3 doubles, it becomes 6, the number of union between heaven and earth, spirit and matter meeting and sealing a contract. And to understand why this portal shakes you so deeply, you have to see the hidden language the universe is using to speak to your soul. That language in numbers. And for March 3rd, 2025, the ruling number for the day is 6. 6 is the archetype of integration. It doesn't separate. It unites. It's the vibration of the sacred marriage between divine and human, between soul and body, between heaven and earth. 6 is the moment when spirit stops running from matter and matter stops resisting spirit. It's the number of harmony in motion. And when you add up the full date, March 3rd, 2025, that's exactly what shows up. 0 plus 3 plus 0 plus 3 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5. That adds up to 15. And in numerology, 15 reduces to 6. There's no coincidence here. This portal was carved into time itself to carry this vibration. This completely changes what's happening. A lot of people think portals are just moments to close cycles and start fresh, like death and rebirth doors. But March 3rd, 2025 isn't about closing. It's about integrating. It doesn't ask you to abandon who you were. It asks you to gather every piece of yourself, even the ones you rejected, and bring them back to the center. This isn't a finish line. It's the point where every version of you meets and makes peace. And that integration is the heart of inner alchemy. Because only when you stop splitting your life into sacred versus ordinary, spirituality versus everyday life, who you really are versus who you pretend to be for the world, that's when you become whole. 6 is the number of that wholeness. It brings you back to your own center. And that's exactly why this portal isn't for everyone. It can't be. March 3rd, 2025. Won't make headlines. There won't be fireworks in the sky or obvious signs for distracted eyes, because this is a vibrational portal, and you only see it if you've already sharpened your inner vision. The ones still living on the surface, believing only in what they can touch or buy, will walk through this day like any other. They'll wake up on autopilot, scroll their feed, pay a few bills, and go to bed exhausted, never realizing a hidden door was open the whole time. But the ones who have already started questioning their own story, who feel that strange emptiness even when everything seems fine, who dream of symbols they can't explain, who look at the clock and see repeating numbers like time itself is blinking at them to get their attention, those people will feel the portal vibrating in the air. Because this portal is a calling, not a show. It doesn't want an audience. It wants initiates. Not initiates in secret orders or esoteric schools, but initiates through their own pain, their own silence, their own journey of breaking down every lie they ever told themselves and starting to build a life that's actually true. And if this message reached you, if some part of you vibrated when you heard or read these words, then the call has already started. Now it's on you. You don't need some over-the-top ceremony. You don't need candles and crystals if that doesn't speak to your soul. The portal is about truth. On the night of March 2nd or at sunrise on March 3rd, sit in silence, breathe, and ask yourself, am I ready to create a new reality? Am I ready to become who I really am? No excuses, no hiding behind the past or fear. And then listen. Don't just listen with your ears, listen with your whole body. If a wave of chills rises, if your chest gets heavy, if your eyes fill with tears for no reason, that's your soul answering. And before you go, pay attention. A special video has been prepared just for you. It's the direct continuation of this call. So if this message found you, don't ignore it. Click on the video showing up on your screen, because that's where we're going to meet again. And I promise you, what you'll discover there goes even deeper than everything we just talked about here. See you there.